Grand Admiral Zefran stood motionless on the command deck of the Eternal Dominion, his three hearts beating in perfect synchronization as he studied the tactical display. The Hegemony's most advanced sensors showed exactly what intelligence had reported: a single human vessel, designation unknown, approaching the outer rim of the Kepler defense grid. "Size estimate?" he asked, his voice carrying the authority of 500 victories across a dozen star systems. "Approximately 800 meters, sir," reported Commander Thistle, her scaled fingers dancing across holographic controls. "Standard human frigate configuration, if their registry files are accurate." Zefran's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. For 3 years, the Galactic Hegemony had been slowly tightening its grip around human space, testing their defenses, probing for weaknesses. Humanity's reputation as a minor power with outdated technology had made them an obvious target for expansion. This single ship, probably a desperate reconnaissance mission, would provide useful intelligence before its inevitable destruction. "Fleet status?" he commanded. "Battle Group 7 stands ready, sir. 12 dreadnoughts, 36 heavy cruisers, and support vessels. The human ship is surrounded." Thistle paused, reviewing her displays. "Sir, they're not attempting to flee or communicate. Just holding position." Through the vast transparent steel dome of his flagship's bridge, Zefran could see the distant speck that represented humanity's pathetic gesture of defiance. The Eternal Dominion alone outmassed the human vessel by a factor of 50. This would be over quickly. "Open a communication channel," he ordered. "Let's give them a chance to surrender before we add another entry to the victory logs." Captain Elena Vasquez sat in the command chair of the HSS Normandy, her fingers steepled as she watched the alien fleet adjust its formation around her ship. 57 vessels, each one representing the pinnacle of Galactic Hegemony military engineering. On paper, it should have been a massacre. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Commander Park reported from the tactical station. "They're hailing us." On screen, the main viewer shimmered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Grand Admiral Zefran. His species, the Hegemony's ruling caste, stood nearly 3 meters tall, with chitinous armor plating and forearms that ended in razor-sharp talons. When he spoke, his voice carried the confidence of absolute power. "Human vessel, you are surrounded and outgunned by a factor of 200 to 1. Surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded. Your ship will be added to our research division, and your crew will be processed according to Hegemony protocols." Vasquez smiled, an expression that never reached her eyes. "Admiral, I appreciate the generous offer, but I'm afraid we'll have to decline. You see, we've been looking forward to this conversation." Zefran's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "You speak boldly for someone about to die. Very well. All ships, prepare to—" "Computer," Vasquez said calmly. "Execute Protocol Lazarus. Authorization, Vasquez Alpha 77. The transformation began, without warning or fanfare. What the Hegemony sensors had identified as a standard 800-meter frigate suddenly unfolded. Hull sections that had appeared to be armor plating separated and extended like mechanical flower petals. Hidden compartments opened to reveal weapon systems that shouldn't have been possible to fit in such a small space. Most impossibly, the ship began to grow. "What in the void?" Commander Thistle's voice cracked as her sensors struggled to process what they were witnessing. "Sir, the ship is expanding. Current length reading 2.3 kilometers and increasing. Mass estimates are climbing exponentially." Zefran stared in growing horror as the human vessel continued its metamorphosis. Folded space-time distortions became visible as sections of the ship that had been compressed using technology the Hegemony didn't even know existed unfolded into three-dimensional space. What had been a frigate was becoming something that dwarfed his own flagship. "Impossible," he whispered. "Humans don't have ships like that." Captain Vasquez's voice cut across the communication channel with deadly calm. "Admiral, let me introduce you to the HSS Normandy, a Columbia-class dimensional warfare vessel. What you've been looking at for the past hour was our ship in compressed configuration. We apologize for the deception, but we needed to test your fleet's response times." The unfolding continued with mechanical precision. Weapon ports that had been folded into subspace expanded to accommodate rail cannons the size of city blocks. Shield generators that had existed in compressed dimensions activated, creating energy barriers that registered on hegemony sensors as impossible density readings. The ship's true length stretched to over 5 kilometers, its mass now exceeding that of the entire hegemony battle group. "Sir," Thistle reported, her voice barely controlled panic, "their weapon systems are... I can't even classify them. Energy readings suggest they could glass a planet from orbital distance. And sir," she paused, checking her readings again, "they're not alone. Across the star system, space began to ripple with similar distortions. 12 more compression signatures appeared on sensors, each one representing another disguised human vessel, undergoing the same impossible transformation." Grand Admiral Zephyron felt something he hadn't experienced in decades of conquest: fear. Fleet-wide retreat. Emergency jump to... "Admiral," Captain Vasquez interrupted, "I wouldn't recommend trying to run. You see, while we were having this pleasant chat, my ship has been mapping your engine signatures and calculating jump trajectories. We've taken the liberty of deploying interdiction fields at all your likely escape vectors." The tactical display confirmed the nightmare scenario. Hegemony ships, attempting to engage their faster-than-light drives, found themselves locked in normal space by fields of distorted spacetime that shouldn't have been deployable in real time. "This is impossible," Zephyron repeated, his forearms gesturing helplessly at the displays. "Our intelligence reports indicated human technology was centuries behind ours. You barely have interstellar travel." Vasquez's laugh was genuinely amused. "Oh, Admiral, you made the classic mistake. You looked at what we wanted you to see. While your scouts were cataloging our primitive colonies and outdated defense platforms, they never noticed that our real worlds don't show up on conventional sensors. The humans you've been studying for 3 years are what we call our external face, enough genuine activity to keep nosy neighbors satisfied while our actual civilization develops elsewhere." On the tactical display, the 13 human vessels had completed their transformations and were moving into perfect formation around the trapped hegemony fleet. Each ship now outmassed the enemy flagship, and their weapon systems were already locked onto target. "So what now?" Zephyron asked, his voice defeated. "Now, Admiral, you get to deliver a message to your Hegemony Council. Tell them that humanity appreciates their interest in our territory, but we're going to have to decline their expansion plans. In fact, we think it's time for some boundary adjustments." The communication ended, leaving Zephyron staring at his tactical display as it showed impossible human ships surrounding his proud fleet like sharks circling wounded prey. For the first time in hegemony history, a primitive species had not only matched their technology, but exceeded it by centuries. As the human ships began broadcasting coordinates for the hegemony fleet's supervised withdrawal from human space, Zephyron realized that the galaxy's balance of power had just shifted in ways no one had imagined possible. The humans weren't a minor civilization to be conquered. They were apex predators who had been hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to make the mistake of threatening them. And now, the galaxy would learn what humanity looked like when it stopped pretending to be harmless.